I would be happy, Honorable Speaker, for that day when whichever Kenya it is, as we have been doing with sports, contesting for anything outside of our border. We forget about where we come from, the communities we come from, and we all rally behind them. And so I'm requesting the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and President William Ruto that this AUC contest is something we need to build on and to unite this country and create one prosperous, equitable, fair country in which all of us are proud to be Kenyan. Honorable Speaker, when I returned, I was met by some media people who were asking, now are you going to stop supporting the administration? It is the patriotic duty of all Kenyans to support the government in place. And I wanted to tell those people that I happen to be from the community of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I can tell you, in the enterprise of building one Kenya, count on Raila to join hands and to continue to the end with President William Ruto. For those who think that there would be any squabbles between us out of this contest, I've seen naysayers thinking so. Honorable Speaker, let me tell you, we are going to hold the hands of President William Ruto more firmer to build one united country where all of us.
I think there are many others who are, but I think the Honorable Kimani Kuria, member for Molo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Under 5 minutes would be good.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And from the onset, I would like to congratulate this great son of the Republic of Kenya, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. You know, Honorable Speaker, we do not speak enough of the sacrifices that this great Kenyan has made for where Kenya is where it is today. The freedom of speech that we celebrate, the multi-party democracy that we celebrate in this country, is one of the fruits that were fought with very painful losses by one Raila Amolo Odinga. He's coming out as such a successful candidate for the African Union position of Speaker clearly also demonstrates the energy that he had and the confidence that the 20 heads of state gave on this son of our Honorable Speaker. Is one thing today. I'm a very proud Kenyan and I celebrate this great Kenyan Honorable Speaker. During the campaign period, Honorable Speaker, and during the launch of Baba's bid for the AU, at the same time we had a meeting with young legislators across Africa. And I actually took those young legislators to the campaign launch of the Honorable Amolo Odinga at Addis Ababa, Honorable Speaker. I thought I was introducing, as the chairman of the Africa Young Parliamentarians Network, I thought I was introducing these young legislators across Africa to our former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. I was shocked, Madam Speaker. Speaker after speaker, members of parliament across the African continent talked about how Raila Amolo Odinga had mentored them. They talked about personal encounters. They talked about the history that he told them and the commitment he gave them of his support, Honorable Speaker. The encouragement that he gave these young people, that some of them attribute to the positions they hold where they are in their respective Honorable Speaker. And with that, I admired this great Kenyan. Many honorable members in this House, including young legislators, have been mentored by one Raila Amolo Odinga. And that is a reason that we really need to celebrate. The likes of CPM Mayaka, Honorable Speaker, the likes of nominated senators and members of parliament in this House, Honorable Speaker, as a result of the hands of this great Kenyan. People are saying it is Kenyan, it is Africa that lost. And I believe it. Because Kenya had a chance of a person who had the vision, the history, and knows where Africa needs to go to in the future. And I'm really hoping that perhaps in the future, there will be another stage, whether in the continent or globally, that Raila Amolo Odinga will get to serve, Honorable Speaker. I miss the days that Kenya was a patriotic country. How we celebrate our athletes when they win in the marathons. We don't care where they come from. We don't care the communities they come from. All we know is that we have a Kenyan carrying a Kenyan flag in a marathon in London, and he has won. A few years ago, we had one of our greatest teachers, a man from Njoro, I think it's called Mr. Tambach, who won a global prize on being the best teacher global, Honorable Speaker. We were all there congratulating this teacher because he was carrying the Kenyan flag in the global, Honorable Speaker. I don't know what happened when it came to Raila Amolo Odinga. And this is a very sad state of affairs in our country. If we continue, yes, of course, by some people, and if we continue this trajectory, Honorable Speaker, we're experiencing a toxicity in the country where any success of anyone else apart from you is demonized. We saw the US government cut funding for US aid. It's their own policy, fine, it's their country, it's their taxes, yes. But Honorable Speaker, the number of, I saw Kenyans celebrate that now those guys who are working with US aid are now jobless. How does it benefit you that someone else is jobless and it is not you who is going to get that job anyway? So, Honorable Speaker, I really wish that we had that patriotism back, where one is Kenyan and they are competing in a global space, in a continental place. We leave all our political differences aside, all our ethnicity aside, all our family issues aside, and support that somebody, because that is a Kenyan, and that should be the Kenyan spirit. With that, I support Honorable Speaker.
Mic is not working. Okay. Yeah, the Honorable Member for Kitui South, Honorable Nyamai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to support this motion that has been moved ably by the majority leader and seconded by the minority leader, the biggest cheerleader of the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the Honorable Junet Mohammed. Honorable Speaker, I would like to start by congratulating the President for standing with Baba. He needed his support. He needed him to cheer him on. So we are very grateful for this. Madam Speaker, I would like to say that the Honorable Raila Odinga, when he was going for this position, he knew that it involved 55 countries of this world. And he knew that it was a very competitive position where he required to give his time, his brain, to stand in the international agenda, tell those people who he is, introduce himself to the world at that level. And I would like to congratulate him for that. And thank God for him, Honorable Speaker. Because at the age of 80, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has a sharp mind. He still has the strength to compete with young people, where he came second, and we would like to tell him, keep going, Honorable Raila Odinga, because God has given you the grace. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Raila Odinga has a gift. He has been in leadership for over 30 years. He stood with Honorable Moi. He stood with the Honorable Kibaki. He stood with Ruto for 10 years. And now he's working with William Samoei Ruto. Madam Speaker, I would like to say that love him, hate him, Raila Odinga is blessed for his age, for the work that he has done, for the courage that he has shown, for the strength that God has given him. We would only like to say, those of us in position, may God give us so many people who are like him, who can put our country to the level that he has. It is not the first time, Honorable Speaker, that Raila Odinga has given himself to lead the continent. In 2018 up to 2023, as the majority leader said, he was the chair of infrastructure and development, the special envoy, and that means that he did not do it for anybody. He did it for this country. The position that he went for was not for himself, it was for us. And I think it is time we love our country, Honorable Speaker. And for anyone who may have celebrated this loss, I think it is important for them to go back and just reflect on what we are doing to our country. This is a position that would have given us a print in the country as Kenya, that having the former Prime Minister leading Africa to ensure that we have peace, to ensure that we have development and to ensure that we play at the world arena. Honorable Speaker, I would like to congratulate the President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto. It is hard. He had a very tough competition with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. But for the sake of this country, he has kept everything aside and said that this is the only country we have, this is the place that we live, this is the place where we bring up our children and our grandchildren, and we would like to tell him, Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Your Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, unite this country for us, and we are right behind you, and we'll make sure that we pray for you that everything goes as planned. Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that finally, when the Right Honorable Prime Minister realized that there was going to be a stalemate, he knew the right time to say, stop it. We have a continent that needs proper leadership. And that is the time that he decided to pull back so that he can give an opportunity to the current chair. As we congratulate the current chair, we would like to say, thank you, God, that Right Honorable Raila Odinga was able to be the second. Thank the countries that supported us, and these were our genuine friends, and they remain to be so. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sarah Korere.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues in congratulating the former Prime Minister in his attempt to vie for the chairmanship of the AUC. And Madam Speaker, I also want to sincerely thank the President of this nation, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, for his statement and patriotism. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is a man to be remembered for many things, and is a man to be celebrated. Honorable Speaker, if there is one person who has paid the price for democracy in this country, it is the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And he's so consistent to an extent for 40 years, more than 40 years, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is still standing for what he believes in, and truly he has proved the body
of order. Yes.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, we need to be serious and follow the time. We passed in this parliament that we go for 3 minutes, and because we all want to contribute, why can't we stick to 3 minutes? Because some are going for even 5 minutes, Madam Speaker.
I think when the substantive speaker was here, he asked the House whether we do 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Most people said 5, and then he said, let's start with 5 and see how it's moving. So is it your suggestion that we should move down to 3 minutes? So, okay, those who are in favor of 3 minutes, will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. With as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? No, I think, Mheshimiwa Korere, I think you can proceed with the 5 minutes, and then we'll move to 3 minutes after that.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, truly this was going to be a win for Kenya, and even as the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga comes back home, he comes back a winner. The man who has lived his, to his word. Honorable Speaker, a lot of people or naysayers are castigating the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for every time when he loses an election, he works with whoever who has won. There is nobody else in Africa who can do that. It is only the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at what is bedeviling our neighboring countries, it is because people want to win even when they have not won, and they don't care what happens to those countries. We have seen people being misplaced because of, egos. because of people fighting for power. The right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is one person who have really proved that Kenya comes ahead of everything. Kenya comes ahead of him. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to implore upon this country that this is a high time that our president and the right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga leads this country into unity. Honorable Speaker, I first got into politics through ODM. And at some stage, I was a ODM chairperson in Laikipia. And Honorable Speaker, even the president today was once an ODM person. He was once an ODM member. What I want to say is, it is possible for Kenyans to work together, regardless of which region they come from, regardless of which communities they come from, regardless of their religious backgrounds. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is so sad that some of the utterances that were uttered about the heads of states of other countries and our candidates were uttered on the pulpit of the church. Madam Speaker, we need to pray for our churches. We need to pray for our men and women of faith cloth. Because, you know, in our church, in the Catholic, we say the church is a moving church. But I just pray that the church, everybody does not move and leave the church in the world.
You're getting an opportunity, unless you're appointed, but hold on. Yeah, I think the next person was the Honorable nominated member, Honorable Irene Mayaka, and then we think we're coming to you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to join my fellow colleagues in congratulating the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for conducting himself as the true Pan-Africanist that he is, and actually giving himself, offering himself up for the AU chairperson position. Honorable Speaker, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is one of those people who are very resilient. When we were in Addis and we were all feeling very sad about this particular loss, he was talking to us while smiling and assuring us that it is not the end of the world. And so I really want to salute him for that. Honorable Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to thank the President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for leading the campaign on behalf of Kenya. Truly, what the President did was magnanimous of him. Him going across the whole country, I mean the whole of Africa, him hosting us in State House to launch the campaign of the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is something that as young people we will never forget, and we want to thank him for that. Madam Speaker, and the Honorable CPA Kimani Kuria alluded to this, that so many of us have been beneficiaries of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga offering us mentorship. Madam Speaker, if you notice, on my right hand, I always wear two wristbands. One that is the Kenyan wristband for my patriotism. The other one is a blue wristband that has the initials DOR, which means Daughters of Raila. And the reason why I do this is because I am one of the beneficiaries of a mentorship of a great statesman of this country. The Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga did not look at me as a daughter of so-and-so. He looked at me as a young girl who was really passionate about politics, who wanted to be in this space and mentored me to get to where I am. And so, Honorable Speaker, it really saddened and disgusted me when I saw so many other young people on social media trying to castigate the candidature of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that we also have a fault because we do not educate our young people about the history of some of the great Kenyans that we have, because they need to understand that when you're out there, when you're competing as a Kenyan, we all forget our tribal cards, put them aside, and stand up for the Kenyan who is competing for something. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even for the people in Nyeri who are celebrating this, I really want to just tell them that that was a show of patriotism, and we should not allow it as a country. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even as we introspect and look at what else for Kenya in terms of Africa, even as we congratulate Djibouti for winning this particular contest, I just want to say personally, I think that Africa lost an opportunity opportunity to be led by a great man, an opportunity to have a Pan-Africanist who would have taken this continent to the next level. I submit and I thank you.
E.T. Yeah, Honorable Kimilu. I know you dropped to the bottom because you made a point of order. Yes, and we're coming to each of you. I can see your faces. I can see you, Mboka. I can see you, Naomi Wako. I can see you, Ferdinand. I know you're next and like that. I think everyone will have an opportunity. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. And Madam Speaker, before I contribute to this important motion, I want to give my condolences to the family of Malulu and the constituency for the loss. And Madam Speaker was our colleague. And I want to say my part to the constituency, Madam Speaker, and the family. Madam Speaker, I want to say for the loss of Baba, it's a loss of the country, Kenya. And I want to say that we all lost, Madam Speaker, as a country. And this wants to teach us a lesson going forward, Madam Speaker, because it's a big shame to the country, Kenya, for this big loss. But because, Madam Speaker, Baba was a strong candidate, we want to congratulate him because, in fact, coming in number 2, it was not a joke because there was a stiff competition, Madam Speaker. And I think, Madam Speaker, going forward, we also need to see how we are going to operate with some of our friends. Because, Madam Speaker, although, Mr. Speaker, although you cannot know who voted where, Madam Speaker, but body language and reaction can also speak louder than the voting, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker. So I think some of the guys pretend they are our friends. I think they are not our friends, Mr. Speaker. Like this guy, I don't think whether Museveni is a friend of this country, Mr. Speaker. And these are the people we need, Mr. Speaker, to be serious. Because we need to know who are our true friends and who are just lying us, who are just telling us we work together, we are friends, but we are not friends to this country, Mr. Speaker. I think it's very important, Mr. Speaker, and this is the time as a country we need to be united, we need to look forward, and also we need to forget of what has happened, Mr. Speaker, and move forward as a country. We need to come back. I want to request Baba to come back to the country. We unite and see how we can move our country together, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't agree with some of segment made by the Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, but it's their right to make such segments. But Mr. Speaker, I think this is the time we need to give Baba moral support and also stand with him, because it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm a politician and I know what it means. But, Mr. Speaker, we need to support him. We need to give him moral support. And I want to say, as a country, let's not have...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I take this opportunity to support the motion. One, I begin by congratulating and giving echo to the President, William Samoei Ruto, and on behalf of myself, the people of Emuhaya, the UDA party, indicate that I support and congratulate the President because he undertook to make sure that Raila is supported for this position. Ordinarily, it would be not easy for a person whom you had been competing with. I saw a spirit of brotherhoodness, a spirit of Kenyahood that he exuded. I also want to thank him for taking us to that space where you would imagine for a new Kenyan born that this is the first time that we were having the AUC elections happening, because it's a space which ordinarily Kenyans had not been exposed to. And the publicity, the campaigns, and the aura that it was given set the stage. Number two, let me congratulate and echo Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga has risen now to beyond just a leader of a section or a small area in this country. Raila is a statesman. He now joins the Pan-Africanists, the likes of W.E. Du Bois and the others like Marcus Garvey, maybe Kwame Nkrumah and others. Because what he does, he shows very clearly that he is above the normal, ordinary, small politics of Kenya. But he rises beyond that level to support Kenya as a country and where need is required. Look at just the last, because one member of parliament had created the milestones that he has done. But I want to echo the one that is most recent. When we just had the recent situation whereby everybody would think that Raila should use the opportunity available to make everything very unstable in the country, and that was just after the Gen Z riots. He steps down and calms the waters. That's a statesman. And therefore, as he comes back, I believe these are two leaders who went through a very rigorous session of praying together in Addis, surmounting certain challenges together, and even discussing what to deal with. So if anybody, rather for all the Kenyans, this is not the end, it's just the beginning for the big things to happen. And I want to encourage the two leaders to work together as two statesmen to bring unity, unify the country, and make us develop. And we have seen common challenges and problems outside there. This should make us even work together and be stronger than it was, and not to divide us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The MP for Mwingi West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to add my voice to this motion, and I want to support it, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I just want to congratulate His Excellency, the President, on this. To congratulate His Excellency, the President, for championing this candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga. Mr. Speaker, this was not actually a tribal or any political affiliation kind of a matter. It was a national thing that should have been supported by each and every Kenyan, regardless of tribal affiliation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a win for Raila Amolo Odinga would have been a win for Kenya. And if he lost as a Kenyan, not a Luo, not an ODM person, or not even an Azimio leader, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that we are very proud of him. He just registered the name of our country in what we call international arena in Africa, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, going to what happened, this is the first time I'm seeing an election, someone winning round 1 and 2 and still losing. We need to change the format of the way we are determining the win of AUC chairman, Mr. Speaker. And I would suggest in the future, we borrow the lead from European Union, where the chairmanship comes from in a rotational basis. We have to rotate. Otherwise, African Union has become a thing for the North. Every time they collude, the last minute they vote for the candidate they want, and always coming from the northern part of Africa, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to challenge the new incoming chair to address the issues of loss of biodiversity in Africa, the issues of climate change, to work together to address the perennial issues facing the African continent, and in particular the economic pressures and the conflicts we are witnessing in different parts of the country. And since, Mr. Speaker, I can see my time is up, I would like to say, let us unite as a country and let us work in unison for the prosperity of our nation and forget what had happened in Addis Ababa.
The Honorable James Anyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, may I appreciate and thank the government of Kenya for endorsing and supporting Honorable Raila's quest for the chairmanship of AU Commission. Mr. Speaker, may I also congratulate and thank Honorable Raila for the courage, the commitment, and the selflessness to pursue this. This was not actually for his own benefit, not even just for the benefit of Kenya, but for the whole of Africa. Mr. Speaker, the local political discussions that we are seeing after this election completely misses the point. The bigger objective in this was actually the future of Africa. We know, and we all agree, that Africa is the richest continent in terms of resources and potential, and yet it is the poorest continent in terms of utilization of these resources. Therefore, in this election, in my view, even as we congratulate the winner, it is only the Honorable Raila who had the political clout actually to get the African heads of state for once, hopefully. If you leave the 1957 era when we were all clamoring for a united Africa, to get them to speak together with one voice and put the Africa agenda for international discourse. And this is particularly, Mr. Speaker, necessary if we look at the leadership in the America today. African leaders need to talk together with one language. This is what is going to protect us. And in my view, this is what I know, and everybody perhaps knew Raila Amolo Odinga was capable of doing. Mr. Speaker, look at Africa, the youthful population. But what happens to this population? We are actually afraid of the youth. Many are dying crossing the Mediterranean Sea because they say they would rather go and live abroad than live in. They would rather die while trying to go abroad than live in Africa. Who can put this thing together? Mr. Speaker, we have the largest potential in minerals. We have the largest potential in hydropower. You have the largest potential even in gas. But despite all that, we are still poor. And in fact, the countries with the highest potential are the countries with the biggest turmoil in politics.
The Honorable David Gikaria.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii. Na ya kwanza nichukue nafasi hii kumpongeza Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga kwa kujitokeza kwenda kuwania kiti cha kuongoza Afrika nzima. Pili, nichukue nafasi hii Mheshimiwa Spika kumshukuru sana rais wetu William Samoei Ruto kwa kujitolea kabisa, akawa yeye ndio alikuwa mbele pale kwa mstari ya mbele kumpigia debe Mheshimiwa Prime Minister Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Sijawahi pata nafasi Mheshimiwa Spika ya kukaa karibu na Raila, na nafikiria nitamuuliza ndugu yangu Atandi anipeleke ama Madam Gogo wanipeleke niende. Unajua mbeleni ilikuwa tukienda hapo ilikuwa nasema unafanywa nini, unakuwa sanitized. Lakini sasa ni kwa kweli, na nasema hivi si kwa sababu ya haya peke yake. Mimi ni shabiki ya Raila sana kwa mambo mengi. Tangu nikiwa kansela aliniongoza kwa njia ya kuleta watu pamoja na kufanya mambo mengi. Na niseme kuna mambo mengi. Kwanza niseme kama ndugu yetu Junet alivyosema, akatumia jina atarevisit. Nataka kwa niaba ya jamii ya ile ambayo inasemekana walienda wakasherekea kuomba msamaha, kwa sababu sio jamii nzima ambaye walifanya hivyo. Ni watu wachache katika kona fulani ambaye walienda. Kwa hivyo tusichukuliwe kama sisi sote, ni mtu mmoja ambaye anajulikana kwa mambo. Pili, niseme pia mambo ya zile sheria zimewekwa pale. Ndugu yangu bwana CNN amesema ni lazima tuanze kuangalia. Mimi sijui kama nitakuja chaguliwa rais, pengine ningepeleka mswada kule tubadilishe sheria. Ya kwanza, kama vile nasema, iwe ni chairmanship, iwe ni kitu ya kuzunguka, ikiweko North Africa, ikuje West Africa, ikuje East Africa, iende kule chini na kule kwingine. Ama si hivyo, wakubali basi first round, yule atakayepata majority votes. Raila wetu aliongoza mara 2, lakini kuendelea mbele watu wakaanza siasa na mambo mengine. Tunataka kusema ya kwamba tunampongeza sana rais wetu kwa kupigia debe, na zaidi kwa ndugu yetu Raila Amolo Odinga kwa kujitokeza mhanga katika hata ile miaka yake. Watu wanasema si uzee, Mili amesema usije ukastaafu kama unajua lengo lako. Kwa hivyo nitaomba pamoja na
Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me join my colleagues in, first of all, congratulating the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for stepping out and declaring his candidature for this position. Honorable Speaker, Kenya may have gone without a candidate in this election had Baba not come out and said that he's offering himself. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank and congratulate Honorable William Ruto, the President, for embracing the candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga and using all available opportunity and resources to ensure that the campaign took off. Honorable Speaker, the campaign for the chairmanship of African Union is not a mean activity. It is an activity that requires traveling and movement across length and breadth of Africa. Honorable Speaker, this is not a campaign that you can do from your own resources, even if you are a dollar billionaire. Therefore, I want to say that the President was very bold and in coming out and embracing this candidate. Honorable Speaker, I was thinking about the support the President gave Raila. And I was even thinking, Speaker, that maybe if we had another president, God forbid, maybe this Wamunyoro guy as the president, I don't think Kenya would have presented a candidate. He would have said, no, this is not a priority for Kenya. But the fact that the president said this is important for Kenya and coming out of his way himself to campaign and to offer resources is something that we will never forget. Honorable Speaker, I heard some people complaining that, look, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is using a particular chopper to travel across the length and breadth of Africa while he's campaigning. I don't know whether those Kenyans wanted Raila Amolo Odinga to use tuk-tuk or SGR as a means of movement to those African capitals. Honorable Speaker, lastly, I want to say that this candidature was not Raila's candidature. Like most people have said, it was Kenya's candidature. Actually, when people were voting, when presidents were voting, they were voting for the country, they were voting for Kenya. And therefore, I want to say that Kenya has won because Raila Amolo Odinga, using his profile, using his global profile, has been able to market the country. Kenya is now known, Kenya is respected, and the debate, Honorable Speaker, that Kenya has a weak or a poor foreign policy is something that I want to dismiss. Because, Honorable Speaker, if the Kenya's foreign policy is weak, I don't think those 22 presidents would have been able to support us. And so I want to say that we know the African politics, we know the politics of Anglophone and Francophone, and many other factors that I've got.
Thank you, Honorable Sam Atandi. Honorable members, I have only 12 minutes. I don't know whether we still speak for 5. Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, proceed.
Chairman, thank you very much, the Speaker, for allowing me to have this. First and foremost, I want to say thank you very much, Your Excellency, for having endorsed Raila for this particular job. He actually did not endorse Raila as a person, but he endorsed Kenya because, as mentioned elsewhere, Kenya is the one that actually stood for the election, and therefore that was the right candidate for us. And I want to say this, we actually as a country, we did very well because the first round, we won this. And I don't know why they had to go the second, third, fourth, up to 7th round, because we had the first round, Raila was having 22 votes against 19. And then of course, second one again, he had more than that. So I don't know what happened. As somebody mentioned, I don't want to say maybe votes were stolen or anything else, or there was corruption, but I can tell you that Raila actually won this. And I want to say this, that His Excellency did very well for actually endorsing Raila, because he actually endorsed Kenya. Secondly, had Raila not actually accepted as a statesman after saying he has lost, they would have suspended. They would have suspended this election. And I can tell you, because most people are saying it would have been very expensive for this country, because we spend so much money. People going there, some of them went on their own, others, of course, they used our taxes for going. But now, if His Excellency did not accept the defeat, what would have happened, Mr. Speaker? Would have been that now, the whole thing suspended, and would have spent so much. And therefore, he actually went for a country, and I want to accept that actually that is the right candidate. And ask me a second question. I have worked with Raila, and I know that it's a statesman, and therefore we are looking forward to having him get into the government and be able to work with Ruto, so that they can be able to move forward. I support the motion.
The Honorable Fatuma, MP for Migori County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. First, I want to congratulate His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. He did what only great men would do. And as other Kenyans are talking, we want Africa to know that that was the best candidate. And Kenya won, Africa lost, because we gave them the best of the best. And we are asking Wamunyoro, if you think Raila was not fit, why would you not give yourself in to go as a candidate so that we see how many votes you have garnered? I also want to congratulate my Baba, my father, the father of this country, the father of Africa, that only a strong man like you would go for this position. Having gone through an election 2 years ago, and you go again for another election, I think only a God-given man would do such a thing. So I congratulate you, Baba, and as you come back home, we celebrate you. We will slaughter all our chicken for you. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. Many Kenyans were saying that we use taxpayers' money. Mr. Speaker, here is a form of Pacoso Sacco where I took a loan of 600,000 to go and see Baba win in whichever way. The government did not pay for me. I'll be struggling to pay this loan. And the Kenyans who are saying at the newspapers, who are castigating that we took taxpayers' money, the National Assembly only paid for 2 members of parliament. The rest of Kenyans there came in the same way or even worse than the way I came. There are Kenyans who took loans, there are Kenyans who sold their cows, and Mr. Speaker, there are Kenyans who took a bus and stayed on the road for 4 days to be in Addis Ababa, regardless of their tribe, regardless of their party and age. And so those Kenyans and those media houses, please, when you speak, remember we are all Kenyans. And we want to tell the Wamunyoros who are dancing, shame on you. And we are waiting for you. We love Ruto. We will pay him back because he loves our son. I swear we are waiting for you. We will embarrass you. Not even one vote you can get in this country. Shame on you. You're not even a Kenyan. In fact, I voted yes, and if you bring him again, I'll vote yes. You should even be expelled from this country. Shame on you, Wamunyoro.
The Honorable Dr. Lillian Gogo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and
Honorable members, we have only 7 minutes to go.
Asumbi, I'll be very. Foremost, I want to congratulate Baba for being Baba, for just being Raila Amolo Odinga. We can never ever in the history of the Republic of Kenya have another copy of Raila Amolo Odinga. And I stand in this house through the mentorship and the guidance of Baba. Thank you for the space that you have given women leadership, and this is what Africa has missed. And I want to tell our president, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable William
Samoei Ruto, Doctor, Daktari, may the Lord bless you. I saw you hold Raila's hand like a son of Kenya. I was there. Many Kenyans from all walks of life were in Addis. Many. And we had a watch party. And the hall was full with Kenyans of all walks of life. And people gave themselves out. But I want to thank the President of the Republic of Kenya for his humility, for holding on to Baba's hand. And for all I care, William, any time that you are going to call on us, William, I'm telling you this, William, anytime you are going to call on us, William, I saw you. Nobody told me. I saw with my 2 eyes. Riding in the same vehicle with Baba, our Baba Uonoa. William, thank you very much. And when you want us, William, when you call on us, William, we saw you. We saw what you did to our very own. Somebody we value. Somebody Kenya values. Somebody who's gone through so much for this country. Somebody who sacrifices. Somebody who is not a tribalist. Somebody who has given so much for the great Republic of Kenya. And William, you came. And William, you were there for Baba. And William, you talked to us. And you were so humble. William, yes, William. I'm telling you what you did to Baba. What you did to our son, William, we saw you. And the way you were there. And the way Kenyans were mourning. And the way we were grieving. And both of you stood and talk to us in the evening in Addis. William, leave that gender thing alone first. I'm just congratulating William. And I want to tell you, William, just unite Kenyans. William, please put Kenyans together. That is the only direction that we want. I'm talking to President William Ruto, William Samoei.
Ugandan opposition figure Kizza Besigye was briefly hospitalized after his health deteriorated following a hunger strike, but was back in prison. 68-year-old Besigye is a leading opponent of President Yoweri Museveni, in power for nearly 40 years, whom he has unsuccessfully challenged in 4 elections. Uganda's Supreme Court ruled last month that civilians should not be tried in military courts. This was rejected by Museveni. But the country's Interior Ministry said the government will drop the military trial. The confusion continues in Kampala.
Detained Ugandan opposition figure Kizza Besigye, on hunger strike for a week, was returned to prison after being in a health clinic overnight. The 68-year-old was rushed to a private medical facility in a prison ambulance as his health was deteriorating. Besigye was charged in a military court with illegal possession of a firearm, threatening national security, as well as treachery, which carries the death sentence. He denies the accusations. The news about his health came hours after a cabinet minister said he had visited Besigye in jail and urged him to resume eating while pledging to drop his military trial.